Well, thanks for sticking around. This is our post show. I know we like to go geeky, but for things we're looking forward to next year. So when we were trying to figure out how to split this stuff out, there are certain things that Jason and I are super passionate about that cross over.
Right.
And iPads is probably the biggest one. Apple in general, actually, and geeky tech
Yeah.
and some of that kind of stuff. But when we think about what we want to see next year, I think it's safe to say number one for me is I want to see the new iPads because I want to see how far I can push my
Yeah.
work onto an iPad. So that was number one. And then I thought, you know what? Let's do the fun one that I know Jason and I are both passionate about. And he's got one sitting up above his shoulder.
Right.
That's the
Right here.
Nintendo Switch. And I actually, so, having been sick, just a little side story, but having been sick, one of the side effects, which makes me wonder if I actually had COVID, um, but I've had some insomnia. And
Oh
so I
yeah.
haven't been able to sleep great, which is not good for healing. And I had gotten stuck. Wyatt and I both paid the $99 or whatever it was for the remastered Lego Star Wars Skywalker series. So it's
Mm-hmm.
all 12, 3, 6. No, it's all 9 movies, right? All
Nice.
9 Skywalker movies, and we both bought it because we had 2 Switches and
Right.
we didn't want to share. So we both bought
Right.
it, but I breezed through the prequels pretty easy and A New Hope. So I got hung up on Hoth in Empire Strikes Back in it, and
Yeah.
it's never been my favorite scene. The scenes on the ice and all that kind of stuff. And I had gotten hung up on this one place, and so. But the other day I was tired of playing baseball, and I went in and just logged back in, and I just breezed through that section. And I went, "Oh,
Right.
okay."
That
So
always happened to me. All
yeah.
through my childhood. It always. Yep.
But it's been months, right? And so, but now I'm in. So then I went to Dagobah, and then I fought Darth Vader and got to hear him say, "Luke, I am your father," right?
Yep.
And side note, in now I'm in Return of the Jedi, and that's actually my favorite of the 3 originals is Return of the Jedi. But in the part where they're in Dagobah and he realizes that Leia is his sister, and then he starts to kind of cough like he's going to throw up a little bit because he kissed her.
Yeah.
Um, And that reminded me of a song one of the groups did that was it's a movie marathon or it's a movie highlights. So they sing the Indiana Jones and all that kind of stuff. But one of the lines in
Mm.
there, Luke, we're grateful that you saved everyone, but why did you have to kiss your sister? And so that's what it reminded me of. But anyway, it was really funny in the Lego stuff because they put all the humor in and all that kind of stuff. So actually, it's
Yeah.
been great. So I'm going to get through it, and then I'm going to move on to the Ray versions of them and go through that. So I really enjoy my Switch. Now I said this in the other show, but it's a 2019 Mario edition.
Hmm.
And it was funny because I had thought about buying it and it was on my list and I had talked to a few people about buying it and
Yeah.
my I got laid off. So it was like
Yep.
the week I was going to go buy it, I got laid off. So that didn't happen and so I had told everybody and my grandma Mama Bear came out from her, right? I mean, my mom wasn't thrilled that I got laid off, but my grandma was just super, super mad that
Right.
I had gotten laid off. And the next thing you know, I get a text from my sister that says, Grandma's going to buy you the Switch. And I'm like, what?
Grandma to the rescue.
Yeah. And she's like, Grandma's going to buy it. So I need to make sure I know exactly which one you want. And so they had the Mario edition, they had it at the Walmart down there. My
Hmm.
sister ordered it for her, and my grandma goes in to pick it up. So this is my 80-year-old grandma going in to pick up the Nintendo Switch, right? And um, she calls my sister and says, "Are you sure this is the right one? It doesn't even come with a game. It
Right.
came with a $20 online store credit,
Right. The
right?"
the eShop credit. Yep.
So yeah, so that's the one that I have. The first game I bought with the credit was Contra. Up, up, down, down,
Yep.
left, right, B A B A, start. Right? I mean, you got to get that.
Right.
So that was the first one I bought, and I've got the subscription, so I can play all the stuff that they have on there. Oh. So yeah, I mean, I love my Switch,
Right.
but I did not get the OLED when it came out, and I think you did, right? So tell us what you have.
Right. So I have the Legend of Zelda, the Tears of the Kingdom, OLED Switch. Right. So it's funny because I actually
That's
got a
not the one
Switch.
that's up above you, is it?
It is. So I have a weird thing with controllers. I'll go into that. Maybe I'll mention it later. I have a weird thing with the controllers, especially for these the special edition of these consoles and stuff. Like I literally have old Xbox controllers from like the Halo editions or whatever that I don't use. So it's a weird thing with me. Um, but this is the OLED, the
Okay.
Legend of Zelda Switch. I just use my old Joy Cons on it, and so weird story. I got a Switch for Christmas last year, right as the rumors started swirling about the special edition. So I'm like, wow, I never get to buy one of these special editions because I already have the system or something like that. I'll just buy the game or whatever. But I'm like, it's so close. Let me let me return this one, hold on to my credit, and I'm dying to play. I'm dying to play the game. I'm dying to jump back into the old Breath of the Wild just to replay it to prepare myself for the new one. Um, my it's sitting right here. Link's Awakening was another one that I was just dying to play these games, but I said, okay, let me be reasonable. I'm not gonna use this Switch and then buy a whole nother Switch, 2 months later, 3 months later, as it turned out. So returned it, kept the credit, bought this one. So it is the OLED version of the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch. So and I love it. I love it. It is really awesome.
So the rumor is, this is why we wanted to talk about this, and I hope this rumor is true, at least
Hmm.
most of it. There's one part of it I don't like. So, excuse me. So, later in 2024 at this point, at first it sounded like maybe early 2024, but I kind of doubt it.
Well, I don't
Well,
know because I've been seeing early 2024, which kind of got me excited too. But remember, I told you I'm not going to jump like right out of the gate and jump on it. But I think this is one of those things, those Apple things, we really don't know. Nintendo is really playing this close to the vest. We may get these earlier in the year too, from
bring
some
it
pretty
on.
reputable sources. No
Bring it
Mark
on.
Gurmans of the Nintendo world, but I'm hearing earlier rather than later.
Well, so OLED screen, of course, because they've already got an OLED version, but 4K
Yes,
output,
4K.
which would
Yes,
be awesome. And then improved hardware. I mean, the functionality, the size, all that kind of stuff, maybe make the screen a little bigger, but
right.
and thinner and lighter would be awesome with this, but all the rest of the functionality I think is fine, but it's the improved hardware that we want to see, right? It's kind of like gaming
Hmm.
on your phone or on your iPad. That's when the interior hardware. So, yeah,
Right,
if they I mean it doesn't really matter. I'm going to be honest. Anything they release next year will be better than what I have.
right,
So, I'll be buying one. I mean, it's
right,
just pretty much that simple. The only question is which one. Do I wait for a special edition? What do I do? So I'm going to be buying one. So you said you're
right.
waiting, right? Not going in on day one.
So, and we'll talk about this too when we talk about some of the rumors. But the only way that I'm upgrading right out of the blocks is if they force my hand with special features, DLC exclusives, and things like that. So we'll talk
Well,
about that.
no,
But if
let's just hit that now. That rumor. Tell us
right,
about the one rumor that would blow all of our plans out of the water.
right. So there's a lot of remake rumors, right? That are swirling around, right? So there's some remakes of some Zelda games, Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past, some updated. Of course, they're gonna have updated graphics, right? They're gonna be upscaled to 4K and all of that. Um, that are supposed to be released around the same time, right? And if this is the case, I'm gonna want all of those games, along with DLC for Tears of the Kingdom, right? If some of these DLC or some of these features are exclusive to that Switch 2, then yeah, I'm gonna jump on it. I hate to play that game, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? That was the same deal with the Ultra 2, right? I'm not gonna upgrade for 2 or 3 features. Why are you doing this to me, Apple? But Nintendo is kind of different, right? I don't know. I don't know. To
Yeah.
me,
I mean, I read backwards compat. So the rumor is there won't be any backwards compatibility. So I can read that
right,
one of two ways. I can read that as I won't be able to play the new games on the old devices. I can also
right,
read that as I may not be able to play the old games on the new hardware,
right.
both of which are a problem for me.
Yeah,
So I mean, I'm going to upgrade no matter what. My other one will stick around. It seems like it's working just fine. And maybe it's time for me to introduce my grandkids are into, they call them yoga videos, but over the pandemic, there was just hundreds and thousands of videos released that were designed to get kids moving.
Yeah.
And they released some of them where it was like Mario or Luigi, and you're going through, so they've got backgrounds and stuff like that. And so
Hmm.
the one day I was actually playing Mario, and my granddaughter looked over my shoulder and she's like, "Is that Mario?" And I'm like, "How do you even know who Mario is?" And it's because she's been watching Mario on those other things. So
Right.
it might be time to start introducing the grandkids to those using the older Switch. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for you, and we'll talk about the games that are rumored to come out here in just a second. But
Yeah.
yeah, if they force your hand, I could see you
Yeah.
having to put a
Yeah.
second mount up there behind you.
Right. Right. So it's not good news, but we know Nintendo, they're notorious for making us rebuy games, right? How many times have you purchased that Contra? I think how many times have I purchased games like Golden Axe, Donkey Kong, some of those older Mario games, Zelda games, which I love on every system over and over again. So they're notorious for having us rebuy the same game over and over again. Thankfully, when they do remakes like the Wind Waker HD or whatever, they make it worth it, right? They're not just giving you the same version on a different system,
Right.
right? So hopefully this is not just a ploy, some kind of thing just to get us to subscribe to the eShop or those
Yeah.
subscriptions for those virtual machines and stuff like that. Because if they do, bad Nintendo,
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. I mean, the I pay the $20 a year, right, for the Nintendo
Right,
Online subscription.
which
And
is not bad.
I play all
It's
those
not bad.
games, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I play the old version of pro wrestling and I'm always Starman. And I've played boxing and I play the
yeah,
original Mario and all those kinds of
yeah,
things. I mean, it's just great to
yeah.
have those. Not so much the later gen consoles, but that original console, or as Sheldon would say, playing Mario was the best 600 hours of his childhood. Um, that's a
Right.
Big Bang Theory reference. I don't watch the whole show, but I have seen that clip. But yeah, I mean, I think it's worth it for that kind of stuff because I mean, I paid for Contra. No, it's the whole
Yep.
Contra pack, so it's all the Contra games. But
Okay.
I only play one of them, and
Yeah.
it's the one
The
that
first one is.
it's
Yeah.
the one that I always played. But they've got the Japanese version and the Japanese arcade version, and they're all different. But I only
Yeah.
play that one, and so that's great. Um, so yeah, I like that they do that, and like with this Lego Star Wars, it's great. I mean, I had played Lego Star Wars before, and it's
Hmm.
got a lot of content, not as much. So one of my favorite Lego games ever, there's two, Harry Potter, the full series. That Lego
Right.
game was fantastic on the Switch, and the Incredibles. It just
Okay.
had some really good gameplay in it. But this one's really good. It was worth, I can't remember if I paid 70 or $90, right? Because I got all the expansion packs and stuff. I
Yeah.
don't remember how much it was, but it's definitely worth it. So what's funny, because I won't pay $60 for a game on my phone, and I struggle to pay $60 for games on the Switch, but I do it
Hmm.
for certain things. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so let's talk game rumors. You want to kind of take us down through this list we have?
Yeah, yeah. So a new 3D Mario. Now this is on all of the guys I've subscribed to and all of the rumor mills and stuff. This is coming, right? So this is going to be 2024, and so I see you have here using the Unreal Engine. It's supposed to be something similar to how like Breath of the Wild and all of it is. So not necessarily the Unreal Engine, because Nintendo they're not gonna pay somebody on with using their most valuable property, which is Mario, and then pay somebody a royalty to use the engine or something. So definitely it's going to be a similar engine to the Unreal Engine, but this is coming in 2024.
Yeah.
So this is one of those rumors that we can say we don't know when, but we know that it's coming, right?
Yeah, there was
Um,
only one of these on the list that didn't have a rumored release next year, and I think that was the bottom one.
okay, okay. Um, a new Mario Kart, which is rumored to be the release title with the Switch 2. That's
Can't go
from what I'm
wrong.
hearing.
Can't go
Yeah,
wrong
yeah,
with the
new
Mario
Mario
Kart.
Kart. Yeah, that is a good move. If it's not the 3D Mario, a Mario Kart with the release is a good move by Nintendo. That's going to sell a lot of units. So, Final Fantasy VII remakes. Now, there's some older Final Fantasy remakes that are more popular than the original release of those games. So this is a good move. Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3 remastered. Mm, I don't know if Tomb Raider is still as relevant. The newer the newer version, the newer iterations of those are back. They're popular. They kind of gel with those movies that were released, and people like those. I don't know if people are gonna jump on these old Tomb Raiders. So maybe we'll see. Mario versus Donkey Kong. Now this was new to me. I don't know if this is gonna be kind of a Smash Brothers kind of deal, or if it's going to be more of like an RPG kind of feel to it, or I don't know. This
It's
one
a
was a new one.
it's a platform puzzler game. So I
Okay,
think it's going to be your Mario. You're trying to complete puzzles to eventually defeat Donkey Kong. It's got Mario and Donkey Kong in the title. It's going to be popular.
yeah, it's gonna sell. It's gonna sell. So, Star Wars Dark Forces remastered. I missed that one. I didn't really get into that one. Did you play that one any? So
I
they have a
didn't.
remastered version of it. And
So
again, I say Nintendo's notorious for reselling us these old games and stuff, but when they remaster them, they're not just prettier versions of the old game, right? They actually go in and they from the ground up they make changes. They'll make improvements to the gameplay and things like that. So you hear remaster and you're like, it's just going to be a re-release. No, some of these games are improved. They're better. So
yeah,
it may
I've
be pretty
got.
popular.
I think it's like Rebel Squadron or something like that, where you play as a
Hmm.
team of 4 elite stormtroopers going in to do something. Anyway, I've got that one on the Switch. It was okay.
Yeah.
So
All right. A new Contra game. Um, I think, like Greg says, he owns a few versions of Contra, but you still only play the original. I think that's the case with everybody. I've still only played that original whenever I play it again. So new Contra game. Yeah, we'll see.
yeah,
Luigi's Mansion 2. Um, I think people are excited for this one.
I love the first one. I didn't think I would
Yeah.
because in the Mario's, the ghosts that you have to stare at or they come at you are not my
Hmm.
favorite villains. But the way they did the original Luigi's Mansion, I played through the whole thing, completed it, and I rarely complete games like that.
Right. Right. All right. So Paper Mario 2, it has its fan base because it's been around for years. It's been
Yeah,
around, and they won't let it go. So it definitely has a fan base. I've never played any of them, even back when we were talking original Nintendo. I
I
never got
didn't
into
like it.
Paper Mario.
My brain breaks when Mario turns
Right.
away from you and he's this thin.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just
It is
breaks my
flat.
brain.
Yeah. So Lord of the Rings, a Gollum based game. So all of these Lord of the Ring games, they just add to that lore, that whole Tolkien kind of, that Middle Earth. I love all of them, and some people are like me, just anything. It's like Star Wars and Star Trek, right? Give me more, give me more, give me a
Yeah.
different angle, a different perspective from this same story, and I'll buy it. So sounds like it's good. Something you don't have on the list, like I mentioned earlier, was the remakes to Ocarina of Time or Link to the Past, and there was one more so these are rumors because we don't know. We know that Nintendo has teams working on these, but we don't know if they're going to release with the Switch 2 or just release. So definitely some Zelda remakes, and again, these remakes are from the ground up. They're not just polished off versions of what we actually have. They'll change levels, they'll add characters in, they'll add things, they'll make it worth it to squeeze you for another, $50 or $60. So
Yeah.
uh not looking forward to it, but at the same time, I'm looking forward to it because if I can get an updated version in 4K of Ocarina of Time, I would play that and I would love it. So remakes of those coming, plus some DLC for some other games. Splatoon has some DLC that's coming out. It's like a new tournament version or something, and that has a built-in fan base too. Splatoon is a game that they use for competitions and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of good stuff coming from Nintendo. Um, we talked about Disney owning our childhood and things like that. I think Nintendo owned the other half.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many hours I spent playing the original Mario Brothers. I mean, it just
Right.
Super Mario Brothers anyway, right? It just and how many times I had to go through the final level to figure out you had to start at the bottom, then to the middle, then to the top. Otherwise, you just
Right.
kept Groundhog Daying the whole thing, and it's like, come on. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I mean, I don't spend a lot of money on games, right? I generally
right.
wait for them to go on sale. But even just this list, there's enough in here that makes me go, this year's been a year of reading and buying books. I don't know how many hundreds of books I've read if you count when I reread books. Like I read 3 books in the
Right.
last 2 days because I didn't do a whole lot else, right? I read 3 novels. And next year might be more gaming, which I'll have to decide if that's a good thing or a not so
Right.
good thing. So
Right. Right. So again, so we're talking about, what we're gonna do for next year. Again, I say I'm upgrading. Um, if they force my hand with some exclusive and things like that, I'm definitely upgrading. But as far as if anything is released on this Switch and both, I think I'm gonna stay till later in the year when prices won't drop next year, right? For any of these games, any of these releases. So maybe into 2025 or something like that when we start seeing discounts and things, um, I'll jump on it. But as long as I can have it on my current Switch, which is less than a year old, I'm gonna stay.
yeah, I'll be fighting the fight to
Yep,
get one early.
you'll
So
be you'll be day one in line
I
in
think
that
so,
virtual line.
right? Yeah, I mean, I think I will be,
Yeah,
and Dustin might too. So he's got, I think, no, his is. I don't think his is OLED. So his he
right.
got when he came home from his mission. Wyatt got his shortly after I did. So all three of us are on the original
Yeah,
Switch. So I don't know. Wyatt just bought a PS5 and he's been playing that. So I don't know if he'll want to upgrade because that was a chunk of change he didn't plan on
yeah,
spending. So, but Dustin likes to do some of that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Definitely one Switch in my family will be coming. So,
yeah, yeah.
all right. Thanks everybody
Mhm.
for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed that. Let us know what your plans are. If we missed any games, any rumors on the Switch, appreciate it. But until next week, enjoy and go play a fun game.
Yeah, yeah. Go have some fun, guys. See you next week.